Diddy. Alright, family. I want to welcome you once again to the home of the Congregation of the Mighty. My fault. I want to welcome you to the Congregation of the Mighty, the home of the stubborn mind, the place. This is This is a Heart of a Simple production. And right now, this is Tribal Quotes, and we are on African Open. It's a Tree of Life, where we strive. Alright, family. family. We up and popping, and we up and we are popping. I want to welcome y'all. We already got callers calling in, and people have been kind of waiting for the tribal quotes to come back. Brother Hatim has been on a hiatus, you know what I'm saying, trying to get things together. I'm still working on trying to get everything up to where it needs to be. But family, I want to welcome you into the place to be. And what I want to do is give you a scene of what you are supposed to, the proverbs that are up. But also I want to announce that this weekend at the Per Ankh at 1409 East Livingston, also known as Alpha Central Personal Development Shop, the Tawi Family Village will be presenting our youth. And they will be speaking. We have Kingston Thornton. We got Levon Cobb. We got Cleveland Brown. We got Tykees Cox. I also have another young person coming in. Ms. Layla. She'll be coming in to come and drop some information on the family as well. Come out and support our young people because they are the future. Oh my God. It's going to be a dynamic discussion. You know, I don't know what Cleve is preparing, but it better be good, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, he representing the fam. You know what I'm saying? Everybody on here is Gye-Nyame, born and certified. We creating this tribe for them. So we want to see what direction the leadership is going to be going with this. But we are about to do tribal quotes, and I already got some calls, so I am going to go straight to the callers so that they can go and let us know what's on their mind, and we can go on and start building in the best way possible. So who is joining me right now on the line? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, Hatim.
Peace.
Peace, Hatim. This is brother Jehudi. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Okay, I don't want to show y'all numbers, so y'all got to go on and get on the electronic piece and start showing your stuff, because your number was up. I didn't want people just to get your number. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But also, let me announce that we also are having the Malcolm X Festival. As you can see up on the screen, we have the link for you to be able to go and help support the Malcolm X Festival family. We are depending on your help so that we can go and throw a dynamic festival. We want to bring in a speaker, and hopefully we can move and get somebody national to come in. We are already preparing the entertainment. We're getting it ready for you. So I hope you are ready for us. So right now, we have our speakers, and I'm sitting up here kind of upset because I wanted y'all. Now, family, when I say sign in and stuff like that, you need to get on your desktop, or you need to go on and put your name in so your number don't show up on the screen. I don't want everybody to know your number so that you can get telemarketers calling you because they've been watching Gye-Nyame Journey. So I won't throw it up there. But also, those of you that are interested, all you got to do is throw up in the chat. You can let me know, Brother Hatim, I want to come on the show. What I can do, very simply, is this. You can get on through your laptop or through a video, and you can video conference and be in on the show for our live conversations. I'm gonna turn it down so that y'all don't get too much of the double talk, because that's what's about to happen real quick, and I don't want to burden y'all with that, because y'all gonna hear it twice. So I'm going to turn the mics away. So without any further ado, I want the caller ends to go on and introduce themselves. Go ahead. Let us know. Oh, my fault. We can do it like this because it's on my speaker. So go ahead, family. Who on the line? Nobody?
Hey, so since nobody else is speaking up, Hatim, this is Jehudi again. I got your text. Let me know that you're going to go on the tribal quotes. But also, earlier today, I left you a voicemail on your Gmail, on your Google line, because I need a good email address for you. So can you text me your email address? Does this number come up on your screen that you can text me to this number right here? Right on, bro. Right on. Please hit me back here in the next little bit with your email so I can send you this little bit of information I'm trying to throw out. Please.
Okay, cool. All right, no problem. I'll do that. If somebody else you just listening in, if you're just listening in, it's cool. If not, you gonna let everybody know. Go on, speak your mind. There's only one more person on the line. I'm about to send this text off to brother Damon, or to Shahudi. I got to see what I got him. Yep, I got him in here. So we're gonna send him this text with this email address. So I guess the other person don't want to speak, and that's cool. We know who you are. I know who you are, my brother, and I appreciate you joining the journey and being strong with us because he's a strong supporter.
Brother Hatil.
Yes, sir.
This brother Tim, Nation Builder Tim. I'm with you. I'm just cutting hair and getting the girls together.
Oh, man.
I got it on mute so you don't hear all this background noise.
Okay, cool. Gye-Nyame.com. That's what so it's coming to you right now, Brother Damon. So you gonna get in contact with me when you want to. So family.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna change the screen a little bit. And we are going to look at the quotes that we have. So the quotes that we have right now, we're going to start with number 1, and we're going to move through them. We're going to read all of them. Then we're going to come back, and we're going to break them down one by one in relation and how they relate to us as a people and us as individuals, how we can use them to grow and become more powerful. All right? So the first one, they who cannot confess their limitations to the divine head cannot begin the process of fulfillment, say the knowledge holders. That's number 1. Number 2, my all-time favorite. They who are not willing to sacrifice will not be fulfilled, say the knowledge holders. Sacrifice harmonized the right measure. It realigns forces, say the knowledge holders. The last one for the day, the human being's freedom is in the inner head, say the knowledge holders. So we're going to go through those first 3. We try to keep it limited to about 3, and we're going to have discussion around the 3 and give people an opportunity to call in and let us know what they think. I'm going to start with number 1 because a lot of people might be new to how we run this process, but what I do usually I throw out, I can throw out, Brother Jehudi, do you want to start with number 1, number 2, or number 3?
Man, let's start with number 3 first. Let's start with number 3 first.
Good choice.
Please. Okay, yeah, come on. Yep.
The human being's freedom is in the inner head, say the knowledge holders. The human being's freedom is in the inner head. Dope. That needs a strike up right there.
I think now what I get out of that is that our freedom is within us as we go through all that we go through on a daily basis, on a minute by minute basis. We are oppressed by the thoughts and the energy that we allow to oppress us. But if we stand strong on our square, as my son said, if we stand strong on our 10 toes, then there's nobody that can knock us off of our inner strengths and the purposes that we fulfill in the Creator's works. Your freedom is within you. Is within you. Period. Now, if we can bring that together as individuals on a village mindset, then we can free our village through our work as individuals committed to the village.
Anybody else? Y'all can go and type your comments into the thread as well. So now, the human being's freedom is in the inner head. The human being's freedom is in the inner head. So the knowledge holder, and Brother Jehudi broke it down. I mean, listen to what his name is, Jehudi, right? Supposed to be coming with that wisdom, right? And I mean, and it's a very simple concept for us. And one of the things I like about this book, because this book not only talks to us on a personal level, it talks to us on a group level. Because the Proverbs, like I said, are layered. And as Brother Jehudi already illustrated, we have to master this on the individual level, right? But what's happening is that through us only embracing the individual idea, because here in America, the rugged individual is a major archetype. We got all types of heroes that supposedly arose from the dust by themselves, with, in a sense, no assistance, and they was just rugged, and they was able to push through, and they were able to make changes. Family, I'm here to tell you that is not a true narrative. That is a false narrative that's fed to you. And as you know, here at Gye-Nyame Journey, we believe highly in the power of narrative, in the power of stories. And a story like that is very destructive, especially to an oppressed people. Because what this is talking about, if you just listen to it from the programming that you have received, you will only hear the human being's freedom. You won't hear the undertones, because in order to be a human being, in order to be an individual, it means that you are social. You belong to a social group. And for yourself to extract yourself from that is to turn yourself into something else. None of us are an island unto ourselves. And the human being's freedom is in the inner head. But what happens when it moves outside of the inner head and it enters into the world, and you have no one else to help you defend your freedom, because it's only you? Part of our issue is that we're looking at freedom from an independent standpoint rather than the group, rather than the collective standpoint. And it becomes very dangerous for us. It limits our growth, because we get individuals who have attained quote unquote individual freedom, and they supposedly speak for us, but they're not speaking out of a collective idea that will make freedom an actuality rather than a theoretical concept, rather than one out of every 100,000 of us, because that's what happens, right? When we take this proverb and we use it on an individual level, it becomes one out of every 100,000. Rather than one out of every 100, rather than one out of every 10. We start believing that this freedom is just about the individual. It's about you being able to do whatever the hell you want to do. Do as thou will. As you know, everybody came down on Jay-Z, and I often speak about that we live out the very t-shirt that Jay-Z, that everybody was condemning Jay-Z and said he's a devil worshiper. You know, that came from Aleister Crowley and stuff like that. We exhibit the very concept of do as thou, as an individual, will. And because we act as individuals, we lose our freedom. Freedom is a collective endeavor. Freedom is a societal endeavor. Freedom is a cultural endeavor. And in order for us to move to the next level, we have to be clear about this. The narrative that we have to be able to share about freedom is not that it's about individuals. It's about a group being able to band together to protect the individual rights of each of its members. So yes, the human being's freedom is in the head, but it's also in our collective memory. Or it should be, and it's protected by our collective mind. It's protected by our collective inner head. But because of of what we went through, in many ways, our collective inner head is totally insane. We think that we could function without it, thereby canceling out any chance of us having any real freedom. At least that's my opinion. What you think about that, brother Jehudi?
You said a lot, and I agree with a certain amount of it, because actually, in listening to your statements, it made me wonder if my statement, speaking from the position of the freedom, is the individuals to recognize and command for themselves, or if I might have misspoken or incorrectly spoken, that this speaks to the community or to the village itself. So some of it I'm going to have to reprocess. I'll have to sit still and see, because as I think you know me, my first thought is always to speak correctly. I don't want to mislead or bring incorrect or misleading information. I still see that statement as saying that it is in the inner head. And I still see that statement as it is in the inner head of the individual to recognize and to create for himself, herself. But, in terms of the village and the collective, I agree with much of what you just said.
Because for me, go ahead.
I was going to say, so does any of that that I just now said sound anything like the statements of a half-ass confused brother?
See, I wouldn't even say that it's confused, because you're going off what we have been given, and your statement,
okay.
Your statement is, let me put it this way. For me, it would be correct if we was operating as a collective. You understand what I'm saying? But because we're not operating as a collective, because when we talk about freedom, freedom is something that, if you look at it historically, people had they had to not only fight to maintain it as a group, right? They had to, after they got it as a group, they had to maintain it. This is why the United States has an army, and every country in Europe has an army. Why every country in Africa supposedly has a military force, because that military force protects the freedom of the individual. But if there's no collective force working towards the freedom of that individual, working to gaining that, and then also being able to protect it. You understand what I'm saying? Because this is where a lot of people go wrong. We honestly start believing that freedom is an individual endeavor. And I bring the idea that freedom has never been about the individual. Freedom has always been spawned, or is a reward of being part of a group. And because I need to catch you on that point for this reason. From my way of thinking and to my knowledge base, my information, as a country, nobody is truly free. And this is why I say that. And I mean nobody as in across the planet. Nobody is truly free, because every country has a set of rules and expectations that they expect their citizens to follow. And not every citizen, and I'm going to go far enough to say that no citizen is able or willing to follow every rule of their specific nation just to be a part of that nation.
Okay, they say America is the greatest nation in the world. They say it's the freest nation in the world. So we have the freedom of the vote. We have the freedom of speech. We have the freedom to go from here and there as we please, or so they say we have those freedoms. But at the same time, if you decide you want to get from point A to point B, you want to get in your car and drive to Kroger's, butt naked, pull up into the Kroger's parking lot, get out of your car butt naked, and start walking towards the store, somebody's going to call the authorities. The authorities are going to run up on you and say, well, sir, you're going to need to put some clothes on before you walk in the store. So there's a freedom lost right there. There's a freedom lost right there.
So now, I got to ask you this.
Okay, come on.
So as a country or as a group, every group has to have rules.
Rules, yes, sir.
Now, if you are, in a sense, in that group, you participate in the rules, in the rule development, because it's the rules or the laws that protect the future of the people. And it,
yes, sir.
And it's supposed to protect, it's supposed to protect the freedom of the people. So there are common agreements that we all going to have, or we supposed to have in groups. So going to the store, going to Kroger's naked might not be to the benefit of the group. Now, it might feel good to you as an individual. See, because part of freedom, and we're going to get to this as we get deeper into the conversation, because part of freedom is recognizing that it's not about you. It's about the development of the group. When freedom is all about you, where is the growth in that? Where's the growth in the group? Because in that case, there's no free families. I have the authority of my household. So if my son want to walk around the house naked, I mean, he's not really hurting them, but he's violating some rules of the group. Homie.
Sure. Okay.
Go up there and put your drawers on.
Now,
go ahead.
Those statements that you make are true. So that's one of the areas then that I would have to dispute the assertion that a person is free.
Why?
Because of the rules of the group, because of the rules of the collective, that person cannot express themselves fully unclothed comfortably for the group. So they have lost that freedom.
So
but still,
go ahead.
Come on.
No, I'm just saying. So is it really freedom for you to do something that takes away from others? I mean, is that really freedom for the group? I mean, and that's the point. If it's just for you, is it really free? Because you can't even defend that by yourself. Freedom is a group. Is a resource of the group. It's a reward of being part of a group. You are able to do certain things because you belong to a group. Now, I don't know whether what you might be describing maybe that's something we need to talk about, because when we are talking about, as black people, we want to be free. Maybe we might need to determine what this freedom is. Does this mean that you could do whatever you want to, whenever you want to? Because I don't know any place you could do that.
Good point.
You understand what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know what I'm saying? Because if, I choose to walk off in the woods without any food, you have the freedom to do that, but will that move the group forward? You understand what I'm saying? Because freedom...
I do.
Go ahead. I mean, because freedom has to... What good is freedom?
I understand what you're saying.
Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was just saying I agree with your assessment on freedom, and I'm out of your way. Keep on going.
I'm just saying, because if freedom does not add... If the idea of freedom takes away from the group, is it really freedom? You understand what I'm saying? Because now in America,
Yeah. So now look at
in America, me and you are not free. Why? Because we have not participated in the making of the laws that protect the future of this place as of yet.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
It'd be different if me and you had a place, or me and our group, we develop a place where there were certain things that were done and that were allowed in order to enhance the collective. Because it's the collective. Because freedom is a byproduct of culture. It's a byproduct of being able to defend that culture. It's not.
Okay. So now I gotta ask.
Go ahead.
I gotta ask then.
Go ahead.
In your explanation.
In my opinion, because it's just basically an opinion. But go ahead. Because nobody, you know what I'm saying? I don't have the answers. We're having this discussion. Go ahead.
Yes. This is definitely just an exchange. Strong exchange, and I appreciate it. But so was that original quote that you spoke? And I'm sorry, I get the feeling I'm yelling at you, so I apologize.
No, bro. We do that in Gye-Nyame Journey. Feel free. Shit, you cuss if you want. Be you.
All right, man. Thank you.
Be free.
Thank you. Thank you. So in this assessment, in this quote that you brought up, and I also want to get to the first quote also, man, but I'm working here, and I haven't done a bit of work since I got on this daggone phone line with you, and I got to get this stuff done. So I'm only in here a few more minutes, and I got to get back to my work there. Daddy. But in that quote that you spoke, is it talking about the freedom of the individual? Is it talking about the freedom of the collective? Or is it making any kind of a discernment? Or is it just speaking in terms of freedom? Because if it is speaking in terms of freedom, then I think we do that quote a disservice by trying to put rules or parameters on it, talking about is that, in the collective community, you don't have freedoms, you can't do this, you can't do that. Or that does the individual have freedoms within the collective community, or does that individual have to stay within the parameters of the community, the collective, to find their freedom?
I would say that, like I wrote, my last book was called Freedom Within Limits. And the reason I labeled the book that was because I discovered that in writing these little haikus, I had an unlimited amount of freedom, but it was in a certain way that I had to write them. I could write haikus about anything, but it had to fit within the rules of this haiku. But I was able to express myself 1,000 different ways in this small haiku. It is the limits that provide the freedom. See, so it's the limits of the culture. It's the borders of the culture in which the freedom happens, right? Because the whole piece, my whole piece is, I kind of think, to answer your question, that this talks about all of them, all of the questions that you ask, the collective freedom, the individual freedom, all of them go hand in hand. But if one of them is out of whack, then the other ones, I believe, may not work. Individual freedom does not work without group freedom. Group freedom really may not work without individual. So we got kind of a paradox here. And we have to find the balance. We have to be wise enough to find the balance, because one of the things that I know about, African culture is that African culture was not focused on the individual. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So I better myself by bettering the community.
Yes.
I freed
I
myself.
am because we are.
I am because we are, and we are because I am. It's a paradox there. And both of them need each other to exist. We're social animals. We're social beings, right? We're beings that's raised on narratives. And if we pump in the wrong narrative, then we get the wrong results from those individuals that we're pumping the wrong narrative in. And I think we got the narrative twisted when it comes down to the discussion about freedom. We think it's about being able to do whatever I want to, whenever I want to. Really, that's what it breaks down to.
Right.
I should be able to do whatever I want to, whenever I want to. And I'm going to ask people, where could that happen? Now,
you're going to ask them what?
I ask people, where can that happen? Where and when has that ever happened?
Yeah.
Even when we were small tribes, you couldn't do what you wanted to, when you wanted to, because some of the things outside of your group control would limit that. You know there was a certain way that you were supposed to enter the forest, because if not, those animals in the forest that was looking for a meal would munch on your ass.
We'll get you. Yeah, thank you for your freedom, brother. Thank you for your freedom. Yeah.
And the question is, was that really freedom, or was that foolishness? You know that you are combating a violent world. And then think about this. If we go through history, one of the major things that individuals had to do was come together as groups. And once they established a territory, and once they established the resources on that territory, they had to be able to defend it, because others will always try to encroach and take what they had. So you always, whether you was fighting against nature or you was fighting against man, you had to always have certain rules and regulations in how you dealt with each other and with others, so that you could protect the little that you did have.
Yes, sir.
And we have lost that concept, and we have chosen foolishness, because maybe we got it confused, because both of them start with an F. We confuse foolishness of being able to do what I want to do as an individual with freedom, which is something that is a result of community, is a result of tribe, is a result of nation, is a result of a group that are dead set on protecting it.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so with all of this, brother, how free are we?
Right now?
Right now.
In America, now, one of the things I said years ago was that laws are created to protect the future of those that make the laws. Do we make the laws? If we don't make the laws, then we have to really think about, if we're not setting the rules of the society, are we really free? Are we even part of the society? We got to ask ourselves the questions. We got to be bold enough to ask ourselves these questions, so that we can continue in having this dialogue from a reality stance rather than an illusionary stance. A lot of us, either we are trapped in foolishness, or we're trapped in illusion. The foolishness is believing that freedom is about you being able to do whatever you want to, whenever you want to. I don't know where that happens. I am 52 as of last week, and I have not seen anybody been able to do whatever they want to, whenever they want to, and not really suffer some type of consequence.
Right. And happy belated.
Thank you.
Happy belated. But what you just now said is very true. You know, because I asked that question knowing that we are not free.
Right.
Now I can put that statement as a black man living in America's black nation, but even the white oppressors, those who orchestrate and live in the power side, or the supposed power side of white supremacy, are not free either. They have certain benefits that we don't have, but they don't have freedom just like we don't have freedom. Because freedom, it's hard to be free, even if all you do is live out in the mountains and eat squirrel nuts. You know, freedom is a very, very elusive and hard to get to quality because of the different impacts that you have on the world and the different impacts that the world has on you. So, now, like I said, I'm working, man. Dang, bro, why do you keep getting in the way of my work? Hey, I got to go back, man. I got to, I got to get up out of here so I can go back to work, man. I appreciate the conversation. Thank you for letting me in, but I have to be true to it. I have to be true to it.
Listen, I'm gonna have to get up off of here because I got a bunch of stuff that I got to do before tomorrow because I got to get a project done for my business tomorrow, and I don't want to disappoint them.
But I am going to tell you this.
Go ahead.
I also going to tell you this, man. Is I really wanted to get at that first quote.
Well, you should have called it out first, brother. You should have called it out.
Nah, because it was like which one? Is left hand or the right hand? Blue pill or red pill? You know, I have a lot of energy on both of those quotes. So I just picked three, and we could work from there. I knew whichever one I picked, I wasn't going to be able to stay long.
Right.
So I just picked three. But, you know, you and I will get back at it, man. I'm going to drop this email on you. Thank you again for letting me in, but I got to go. Peace and love to everyone. All right.
All right, family. So we done hit Brother Jehudi pick number 3. We talked about it, and like I said, once again, this is opinions, right? I don't claim any expertise or any of that. You know what I'm saying? I do love looking at these things, and I've been rolling these around in my head for a very long time, and I am opinionated. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean no harm. And I want to have the discussion because this is a Gye-Nyame journey class. Let me say that. This is a class, right? And it's not in the traditional fashion where we have the professor and I'm teaching you. No, we're having a discussion because this is how we grow. This is how we grow. This is how, you know what I'm saying? Because I need somebody to call in and be like, brother, I tell him, boom, you need to look at this. I'll be like, wow, okay, cool, boom. We bring it back. And a year from now when we going back through this book, or 2 years from now when we going back through this book, I'll be able to add the information that you gave me and then take this stuff and make it real in the world. See, because what I have to get my tribe to understand that it's all about tribe. It's all about the group. It's about the group. Everything that we're striving for should be ultimately about the group. Because when it's not about the group, what happens is that the individuals start becoming more important than the group. When the individuals become more important than the group, then what that starts to do is that start taking energy away from the group. And now the group is weaker while individuals are growing by themselves and are propelled into the world. But usually what starts to happen is they start to discover as they get out into the world as an individual that they are going to be fleeced. They are basically a wealth tool for somebody else, because now that you are isolated and now that you are by yourself and now that you have your freedom, but you don't have the means to protect this freedom. You don't have the wealth to protect this freedom. You don't have the military to protect this freedom. Hell, you ain't got enough wealth to protect the freedom that you have, especially by yourself. I am going to take back what I have allowed you to gain, or what you might have luckily gained. Come on now. Let's look at history. History is when you step back and you look at history is about people trying to maintain their freedom. That's where the good stories come from. We talked about Hannibal last week. Hannibal went to war to what? Maintain the freedom of Carthage. To get Rome's thumb or to get Rome's boot off their neck. Let's keep it real. Let's stop playing. You know what I'm saying? We can't be out here. We can't be out here on some illusionary shit. You know what I'm saying? This whole universal shit don't work. Never has. And any nation that probably practice it, we probably don't know about it. You know why we don't know about it? Because they didn't mark their place in history and they wasn't able to maintain it. Just saying. Let's go to number 1 because Brother Jehudi wanted to hit number 1. Let's hit number 1. We got it up on the screen. It says, they who cannot confess their limitations to the divine head cannot begin the process of fulfillment, say the knowledge holders. So, what we have, when we look at an individual, in Gye-Nyame, we talk about the 5 parts of being. We got the spirit. We got intuition, mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. The 5 parts of the being that we're striving to pull together so that we can form the fist that's going to knock the hell out of white supremacy. Right? And as a group, we have an intuition. We have a mental. We have an emotional. We have a spiritual. We have a physical. All of our bodies coming together, working as a cell in order to go on and in a sense, propagate ourselves so that we can go on and grab resources and be able to protect those resources. As a group, we operate as cells. Each individual operates as cells within the body. What happens to the body when one of the cells go off on its own? That cell becomes cancerous and it destroys the overall whole that every cell was working to try to maintain. And this is what's happening with us. So they who cannot confess their limitations to the divine head. Now let's bring this back. So in the structure, we have this whole individual. And this individual belongs to the group. And the group belongs to, in a sense, a creative force. And this creative force comes to the group into the individual. Right? So we got a hierarchy. This is why, for example, you are who you are because of what you came from. Whether you had a whole family or not, you are who you are. You think the way you think because of the environment out of which you come or you came. Right? So you are not self-formed and self-made. You understand? There were forces around you that made this happen. And there was energy from, in a sense, a spirit or a creative force that flowed through that thing that made you or gave you the experiences that you needed so that you can become who you are right now. So what we have to be able to do as individual and as a group is to be able to confess our limitations. Look at our limitations, because when we don't look at our limitations and we live in illusion, we are not able to become fulfilled. We are not able to really receive what it is that we need because we are running around in a dream world. In order for me to get to the next level, I have to be real about where I am in my development right now. And we as a group have to understand and know where we are so that we can be focused on getting to the next level. So they who cannot confess their limitations to the divine head cannot begin we can't even begin the process of fulfillment. Because many of us are running around here living in a la-la land. We actually go back to the first one, we actually think that our freedom is dependent on our efforts. When in fact, the very freedom, if you are successful, the very things that you have that make you free came from others, came from the social surroundings, came from the opportunities that came from a group that you belong to. It's not because of the efforts and the push through and the rugged individual shit that we are told? Come on, family. Let's get real about it. Your success is built upon those who came before you. That's why we talk about the ancestors so much here. That's why we got to remember who we come from, because regardless of whether grandma didn't have a 3rd grade education or not, grandma produced your wise ass. And some of the experiences and some of the wisdom that she was able to do that you couldn't understand at that point in time, she was able to make sure that you was able to make it to where you are now. So you are not self-made. So get up out of that bullshit. That's an illusion. You are the result of generations and generations and generations of people. But hey, you can't confess your limitations. So you can't fulfill, you can't begin the process of fulfillment. You can't even talk about fulfillment. You can't even feel fulfillment. Why? Because you are lost. You haven't even confessed. Like many people, when I break down, when ADOS come into the room and they start breaking down the statistics, you're like, oh, that's not everybody. You're right. It's not. They talk about the outliers. But when we look at it as a group, where are we? As a group, not as you as an individual. Where are we as a group? Can you deal with the reality so that you can actually start moving in the process to fulfillment? Because as an individual, you will not be able to hang on to one iota of anything that you gain in your life. Because if you do not have the protections of the group, others will come in from the outside and just see you as a treasure trove and find ways to drain the wealth, to drain any power that you had, to suck it up so there's nothing left for your grandchildren. I'll let your children have a little piece. I'm working on some generational shit. I'm going to take it all. All we got to do is be patient. Family, we've been bled out. And we don't even, you know what I'm saying? We can't even see, we can't even begin the process of fulfillment, of getting what we're supposed to get, because many of us are living in an illusion. And one of the most painful places to be is an illusion. The most dangerous place to be is an illusion, especially when you're surrounded by predators. Come on now. They who cannot confess their limitations. Now, as a group, we have not confessed our limitations. And as individuals, many of us refuse to confess our limitations to the divine head, because first off, we haven't decided who the divine head is for us. In our personal life, we haven't decided who the divine head is for our group. Divine is beyond what we know, is beyond what we could touch. It's divine, is beyond. Many of us can't even, in our private prayers, we can't even admit what our limitations are. Because we're living in an aspirational trap. And you know, if you cool with it, I can't say nothing. I'm not gonna fight you about that. You cool with it. You know what I'm saying? As they say, if you like it, I love it. Just saying. If you like it, I love it. I just, like I said, I just want to bring us to a point where we can recognize the truth, man. Where we can recognize the truth. All right, so we're going to hit this last one. I'm going to take a little intermission real quick. Oh, there we go. I'm taking intermission. I'm going to leave you with some music.
Beware the six pack coming down your track like that. Chugga, 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 check the mic. 1, 2. The 6-yard train comes through. Quicker than a Pentium data. For the next millennium, spirit informs. No conforms to the norms. Dropping bombs, I let it, said it, meant it. Here to represent it. Some live off the label of the old school. Mold you, and that's the trend. What I tend to tease a new jack ain't new. In fact, it's bitten pieces of debris. Recycling fragments of rubble from a somewhat familiar voice. And so many MC and so whole little choice. This won't make me popular. Dropping the lyrics that appeal and flock to you. Yeah, I itself am just as accurate as Doppler. I'm rocking ya. Spiritual sipping, slapping mine. Fly it up and it goes, hey y'all, 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 hey.
Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey.
How said I go? Yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey. Dearly beloved, we were gathered here to bring up the rear piece of Popa. We yell, we shed no more tears for fears when I'm chucking my spear. I'm that spook who sat by the door waiting for the big score while you're trying to get yours from the capitalist whore. And the red, white, and blue hearts are stacked in mini. She shimmy, you follow, you swallow. Losers, non-producers, consumers.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Introspection and life lessons running with Quran to a Bible. Bloodless eats the feast, the true purpose of peace. The temple falls all before chemical toxins and meat.
We have a love affair with Brian. Getting drunk,
I'm not meant to be breathing flesh, no band-aids on me. Every day this flag will be in contract with readers. One like the bond everyone for the franchise. Media gets no justice because movie is despised. So verse discrimination versus racism will never be tied. English the bastard language of the so civilized. It's like talking with the way the language is. So it's broken English like a double negative, yo. Yo, hey.
Franchise. Media gets no justice because movie is discrimination versus racism will never be tied. English the bastard language of the
Good night, brother.
It's like a double negative, yo, yo, hey.
Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey.
I go. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey.
Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey.
Yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey. Hey yo, Lord, yo, hey.
It was hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey, my brother Malik. Family, I messed up. I'm thinking that Gina might have came here and pushed a button or something because I'm sitting up here like I could have swore I switched it out. Need to take an intermission. You know how we do here. But we want to get to the last of the Proverbs today. Once again, family, remember these are Brother Hot Tim's opinions. And that's it. That's it. Right? I just been thinking about these things for a long time, and I think that there's something that we need to discuss, and I think it's gems in there that we can learn from. Okay, so we got about 55 seconds for it to be an hour that we've been chilling together. You know, I'm slipping. I got all this stuff going, and yet I still have some work to do. So I'm going to have to get up and say a fair adieu to each and every one of you, right? Before we do that, we're going to just dabble a little bit. One of my favorite proverbs. This is the proverb that made me fall in love with this book. Can I get something from you, anime? Gye-Nyame said that is a derogatory term to call her a Thunderbird. She says she is a Benu. She's a Benu. She's a Phoenix. She don't like me calling her that. She thunder, she starts studying her history. And she like, look, I belong to a great group of, you don't want to call us people, but we're people. And I am a Benu. Child of Benu. Dang, girl. Good God Almighty. You just so deep now. She been reading. And, so I can't. So I say Thunderbird. She said, that's derogatory. I'm not a Thunderbird. I'm not a Phoenix. Get it right, old man. But the one that we're going to go on to today is they who are not willing to sacrifice will not be fulfilled, said the knowledge holders. Sacrifice harmonizes the right measure. It realigns forces, say the knowledge holders. Man, when I first heard this, when I first read this one, this was the second proverb that I read. And when I picked the book up, I had to put the book down and think about this. Think about it. I said, I left the library, and this was the only hardback of this book that I have ever seen. And for the next 3 years, I would go back and take that book out. Go back and take that book out. And finally, when I was about to graduate, I said, I'm going to go liberate that damn book. That book needs to be liberated. Went back, guess what? Someone had beat me to it. I was like, oh, damn. This book is cold, family. And you will see over the next few weeks that just by just thinking about some of these proverbs that was left here for our ancestors, by just doing some wisdom mining, you will, I guarantee, you will start seeing definite changes in your life. You will start feeling the growth jumping up out of you. But before we go any deeper into this, once again, remember to support us with the Malcolm X Festival. You know what I'm saying? You go to, there's a link on here. Go to the Gumroad site. It's the Malcolm X Fest. I know I spelled Malcolm wrong. I spelled the MALCOM X Fest. You know what I'm saying? So go on, make the adjustment, or just click the link. You know what I'm saying? We asking for $20 from each individual. Also, this Imani on March 8th at 11:30 a.m., we will be hearing from the young people. Let me make sure y'all get to see that real good. I want to make sure y'all see it real good because it's kind of small now. Let's go and look at it. Let's get it up. There you go, Tawi Family Village. Please join us for Per Ankh, Imani, March 8th, 2020 at 11:30 a.m. as our youth speak. Kingston Thornton will talk about a suspension in time may save 9. Levon Cobb IV, young, gifted, and black. Cleveland Brown, the warrior mind state. Tykees Cox, black excellence and empowerment. Family, be sure to bring a covered dish so that we can go and break bread together after so that we can celebrate our young people while they're there and ask questions. You understand? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? You know what I'm saying? What do you think of some of the major issues that we can do as older people to help you achieve some of the goals that you have in life? I mean, we got to be bold. We got to ask those questions. You know what I'm saying? That's our responsibility. So let's go on and let's do our last proverb. They who are not willing to sacrifice will not be fulfilled, said the knowledge holder. Sacrifice harmonizes through right measure. It realigns forces, said the knowledge holders. Man, listen. Family, what is a sacrifice? A sacrifice is you giving up something that's valuable to you for something else. Oftentimes, we say, if it don't hurt, it ain't a sacrifice. Often you will find sacrifices cause pain. Sacrifices like the fire that you put something in to purify. Those that are not willing to purify, those that are not willing to give up something, give up something valuable for something more valuable, are not even worthy. They're not even worthy. They won't be fulfilled. Many of us we at a point in time as black people, as a group, because remember I said these proverbs work on an individual level and they also transcend into the group level. As a group, we have to decide, what are we willing to sacrifice? Because every group comes to this point in time. You know what I'm saying? If there's a war, you got to sacrifice your young men, your young women. You got to put them on the battlefield because you feel that you have to trade those lives in order to defend. You have to trade. You have to sacrifice those lives in order to maintain what you have. Family, sacrifice hurts. And the question is that we got to act as a group, as we got to act as a people. What are we willing to sacrifice? Right? We got the presidential campaign coming up. What are we willing to sacrifice? Right? Because those that are not willing to sacrifice are not, will not. They ain't say might not. They say will not be fulfilled. In your life, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to get what it is you want? What is it that you're willing to give up? What is it that you're willing to trade in? What is it that you're willing to allow for? Because when you sacrifice something, what it does, it leaves, in a sense, a void. That you are trusting that, what they call it, that divine head, to recognize and begin to refill. When I sacrifice, I open up space. I move something from myself and I put it in a place and I give it so that a space can open up in me, so that something new can be poured in me that will move me closer to what it is I say I want. Many of us are not willing to do that. Right? Talk about this 2020 presidential campaign as a group. Are we willing to sacrifice? We're willing to give up. Reparations, what are we willing to give up? Because it's gonna require a sacrifice, family. You understand? I mean, because a lot of people is like, they on the reparation bandwagon right now because it was talked about, but they don't realize that this is a goddamn marathon, family. What about the business that you start? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to throw out into the universe and be like, look, I'm opening it up. I have the space open. Many of us is holding some things so close that we don't have, there's no space for anything else to grow. And we have to open up that space to allow the universe to truly bless us. I'm just saying, and maybe I ain't talking to nobody right now. And oftentimes, as I tell y'all, a lot of times I do these shows for future generations. So, you might not get it. Might not be for you. It might be for somebody 15 years from now looking for something and they stumble on Brother Hatem, and hopefully I will be able to help them move from one level to the next level. But hey, family, this is Brother Hatem, and I wanted to just say, I want to thank you for joining us tonight, and remind you that you are now standing in the congregation of the mighty, the home of the stubborn minority, the place where your hustle builds muscle. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. This is the Heart of a Simple production. And of course, this This has been Tribal Quotes, and some value to you. But we strive to blow up your old paradigms. Family, make sure that you go to GNJmedia.live, like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, on our Streamlabs, as well as hit that donation button. You know what I'm saying? Go on and give, right? Hit the button. Check out our merch. I will be showing that probably tomorrow morning, because we're able to do stuff like that now. It's beautiful. All right, family. So, yo, I'm up. I'm out. I got to get right working on this rock and roll call. And this is Brother Tim. And I pray that